Okay, my question for today is what is the story behind the newest discovered element on the periodic table? So, I was doing some research and I noticed that there were some new elements on the periodic table. Now, why is this interesting? Because the periodic table of elements is basically a table that lists out all the elements that we can find in the world. Now, an element is basically the most um, it is a substance that cannot be broken down by further chemical reactions. It is the most basic form of that particular substance that exists in the world, and you cannot break it down by any further chemical reaction. Now, some examples of where we use these elements in our life. Sodium, as you can see here, when sodium is combined with chloride, which we can see here, chlorine. So sodium, chlorine, when both of them are combined, you get salt. So there are several things that have chemical properties and a chemical formula that comes back to this periodic table. Now, in 2004, scientists from the Riken Institute of Physical and Chemical Research in Japan discovered this new element called nihonium. Now, nihonium is from group 13. It has the atomic number of 113. The melting and boiling point is still unknown. Um, there is no current use of nihonium except that it is used in research. It's highly radioactive and only a few atoms are being made. But what's interesting is the naming of this element. The naming of the element was actually based on the history of Japan. It's one of the first elements to be discovered in Asia. So the scientists were given credit, and the element was named Nihon, and that makes up Japan's name, which means sun origin. And it was discovered at this facility right here. And the mass is 286, and it was invented through the bombardment of atoms, americium and calcium 48. So that's the story behind nihonium. It's located right here, 113 on the periodic table. And there's a story behind each atom on this particular table, and the reason they got certain names also has a story. For instance, this particular table was created by Dmitry Mendeleev. So there is an atom over here named after him called Mendelevium. You have another atom named after Albert Einstein called Albert Einsteinium. There's a element called berkelium, which could be related to the University of Berkeley. So each atom over here has a story, and this was the story of one of the most recently discovered elements in 2004 called nihonium.